so much for coming to my Win Love Wins pre-sale kickoff. You guys know that most of you know that I've been working on this book project for a long time. So this is a monumental step in the whole journey of producing this debut novel. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for the celebratory, what are those things called? Emojis, Alicia and Piper. It means so much to me that you guys are here. I'm trying not to get emotional and stick to my agenda. So for those of you who do not know, my name is Nicole D. Miller, and I am an author. I want to share a little bit about my journey before we get into the pre-sale for When Love Wins and the novel. You guys know that I started off as a blogger. Everyone on here thus far knows that. For those who don't know, that may be news to you, but it's true. I started off blogging about 10 years ago. It's crazy that much time has passed. Put off my music. 10 years ago that much time has passed, and literally did not expect all of this to unfold. Was working in corporate, my background's in business, and I found myself stagnant. I found myself stagnant in my career, and it wasn't for the first time. There's been a few seasons of stagnation in my career, but always when one area of my life is stagnant, it's usually because God wants me to look in a different area. And it's a way for him to try to get my attention elsewhere. And so what happened during that time was that I revisited my love of reading. So growing up, I was an avid reader. I read all types of books, short stories. I read fiction books, like the little teeny bopper books, urban fiction books. Then I got into like the older adult novels because my grandma and I were like super close, and she used to read Danielle Steele and one of my favorite urban fiction authors, Omar Tyree. Special shout out to him. And so I got into reading blogs, which was a reminder of this love of reading that I forgot about. And I don't know if you guys know this, but being an avid reader causes you to be a really great writer. So I was always a good writer, but I went to school for business. And even though I had a short stint as a journalist writer, I felt God leading me to do business, having no idea how all of this was going to unfold. So as I got into blogging, I wrote a blog post called How to Overcome Heartbreak, and I shared my very vulnerable story of a really bad breakup I had and how I healed from that breakup. And it was out of that blog post that I wrote my very first book, How to Overcome Heartbreak, Recovering from Misguided Love, and published in 2014. And I think that I underestimated the tedious process of publishing because for me, it was just so smooth. And now I know it is a process and it can be intimidating for people. But for me, I just kind of like sailed through the experience, thankfully, and now I can help others. But I wrote that book, published the sequel to it a year later, and I took a break from writing. Because I lost my mom. And during that time, writing was too intimate. It was a time of fellowship with the creator, and I could not be intimate with the creator when I was in that much pain. So I had written a few short stories. My first short story, Lisa, was written at Lit Cleveland's workshop, a short story workshop that I did years ago. And I wrote a few other short stories. But like I said, I took a break from writing. It wasn't until the pandemic that I picked my writing back up because I had more time and flexibility. And then I revisited those stories, and I just ended up writing all of these short stories, and I ended up publishing Stories for the Urban Soul in May of 2021. And so when that happened, it was very obvious to me that this was going to be my path of purpose. Even though I had started a bookkeeping business at that time, even though I saw myself as a businesswoman, as a professional, I didn't see myself as a writer, even though I had 3 books published at this time, you guys. But I knew I was frustrated in my career for a reason. And when Urban Stories came out, I said, okay, God, let's just see where this goes. Let me give my all to this because no other door is really opening. My bookkeeping isn't scaling the way I want it to. And I feel like really supposed to be all in with this writing thing. And a lot of you guys on here have seen me transform this last year and a half since Urban Stories came out, where it was like, all right, let's get serious. This was a hobby before, but now I'm serious, right? So for the last year and a half, it's been hitting those events. It's been making those connections. It's been door after door opening of opportunities and promise. But in the midst of that happening, another story was unfolding in my heart. And it was a story of two young women who were related, and there was a rift in their relationship. And there was going to be some hard things that they were going to have to deal with, but they would receive healing. And that is When Love Wins. But the cool thing about When Love Wins is that it does take place in New York City. It features the Black-owned cafe called Devin's that is featured in Urban Stories. Devin himself is in it, and some of the characters in Urban Stories pop back up in When Love Wins. So with this novel became this idea of this world with these characters, and a whole series was being birthed out. Literally, I was finishing Urban Stories while writing When Love Wins. So I was in the editing stage of Urban Stories when I was feverishly writing When Love Wins. So it's all been a step-by-step process of me being obedient and showing up, just showing up in the wee hours of the morning, hitting the keys and letting the creativity flow. And even in the last year and a half, getting serious about my blog, because before I would just kind of blog willy-nilly, right? But now it was like, all right, Nicole, if you're going to be serious about this, look at your marketing analytics, look at when people read your blog, give them a blog a week. So that's what this whole writing career has been. That's how it's been unfolding the last year and a half. So I want to share with you guys what I've been working on. Drum roll, please. This isn't a drum roll, but it's close. Okay. So hopefully you guys heard that. So yeah, I want to share with you guys what I've been working on, the reveal of this book cover for When Love Wins and all the things, right? So I'm going to share my screen, and this particular website design, funnel design it's been a labor of love, and it's definitely been a group team effort. So here we go. Here goes the cover for what I've been working on for the last 2.5 years now. All right, let me move all this stuff out the way. Make that big. All right. So this is the cover for When Love Wins. You can see it on the right side. And this particular website is a specifically designed funnel that I've been blessed to work with the iconic expressions on. It has been a team effort. A lot of work has been put into this funnel. And here you can check out, which we'll look at in a minute, a video that we created specifically for When Love Wins. And I just love, love, love the cover. I'm just giving you guys a little overview. So I am going to stop a minute on this part of the website because I want to highlight some key players that have put forth effort into this project. Piper Utsi is one of my, she's actually an editor for Indie Miller Publishing, but now definitely a good friend and someone who's been such a supporter. She was a part of the focus group that actually read When Love Wins that I connected with through Lit Cleveland. So I want to read their responses to the novel. So Piper says, I love the way Nicole builds tension and suspense. While reading When Love Wins, I was dying to learn more. There were so many scenes that kept me turning the page. This is a definite must read. And then another really great person that has been such a supporter who read all of When Love Wins is June Phelps. And her response was, Nicole immediately hooked me with her writing. She is a master at dialogue and excellent at character development. The older characters were expertly portrayed. She does a great job with them. And then Silk Allen said, I love the story. It was fast-paced, but not rushed. I especially love the themes of faith, friendship, romance, community, family, platonic relationships, mental health, single parenthood, and so many other issues that Nicole touched on in a way that was not preachy. And so, yeah, there were a lot of themes in that, y'all. But what I love is that she said it was not preachy. And so I'm going to get a little bit more into that in a second here, but then you can learn more about me. All right. So that is When Love Wins, That Love. And that is my book cover. So what I want to share with you guys is more about the actual book itself. I want to read to you so you have more insight on what this book is about. I'm going to read to you the back cover, which reads, Ashley Bennett loves being the center of attention, but now her world is out of whack at the onset of her cousin Natalie. Natalie Green is tumbling in the throes of grief from the loss of her dear mother. In hopes of receiving support from her estranged relatives, she takes a leap of faith and relocates, only to find her presence in her new home barely tolerated. And When Love Wins, Ashley glams us by conquering the world of high-end retailers, naughty night outs, and a cutie forever hanging on her arm. Natalie grounds us with her deep spiritual roots, tender, selfless love, and admirable tenacity. But both young women inspire us to meditate on how mother's influence sews the fabric of who we ultimately become. This urban Christian fiction invites us into a time where hearts are broken and jealousy is an ever-present threat. But even as both girls struggle against a rift that stems from childhood, the desperate need for sisterhood is a triumphant unfolding of a new beginning for this generation. So that gives you some idea of the back or the plot of When Love Wins. We have these two young women who are at odds but are related. They have a childhood rift, and yet there ultimately will be healing and forgiveness. So it really is a tale of sisterhood. I want to share with you guys more of the backstory of When Love Wins, and looks like somebody did a thumbs up. Basically, this story came from a space of me processing my own grief from my mom. My mom passed, as I mentioned previously, and writing this story was so healing and therapeutic for me because I was able to release some things, and I'm still releasing some things through my characters. So the premise is that Natalie, who is the studious, reserved, faith-based social advocate writer, she loses her mom that year and she moves in with her cousin, who is the free-spirited, artistic, urban socialite. And she's looking for support. She's looking for support from her family. Unfortunately, she's met with cold welcome by Ashley, and she doesn't know why, but spiritually, she feels led to love on Ashley anyway. So that's why the title is called When Love Wins. But they're both young 20-somethings. And the reason this story is also important is because it captures a period of time in my own journey when I was around their age and my friends were around their age. And we had the similar spiritual experience that Natalie did. And we had some of those powerful encounters, and I really wanted to pay homage to that time in our lives. So I talk about that in the preface of the novel. So I'll read the preface to you. When I was 19 years old, I found myself in love with God, or rather, I found that he was in love with me. It was an interesting phenomenon because I can't pinpoint an exact moment or time when I had this revelation. It was like one day I went to bed my regular self, and the next I woke up in awe. I lived in a dorm back then at Miami University in Oxford, Ohio. I had been dropped off there a year prior by my loved ones, which included the guy I was dating at the time. Apparently, engaging in a long-distance relationship and being 5 hours away from my family proved to be a bit much. I became depressed. I was recovering from an eating disorder, had no friends, and all of that undoubtedly stirred up this depression. I remember sitting in an office of one of the few Black administrators, Bill Madison, at Miami. I can't remember who referred me to him, but it proved to be a divine encounter. Mr. Madison shared with me some pertinent information. One, that I was depressed. He did not say this in a mean way and actually only indicated it. And then two, that Miami had a gospel choir called Miami University Gospel Singers, fondly known as Mugs. He told me this last bit of info because once he observed my depression, I should add I actually did not agree with his assessment, he asked what it was that I liked to do. Well, I love music, I replied. and thus I became a member of Miami University Gospel Singers. Then one day, a fellow student announced that they were having a weekly Bible study through Impact Bible Study. I decided to attend, and those two decisions were life changing. I joined several other young men and women who were growing in their faith in these two programs weekly, and a few of them are still my BFFs today. I can't remember the exact moment or time my heart fell in love with God, but I know He wooed me on that campus in such a way that I've never been wooed before. And I was not the only one. Several young men and women were hungry and thirsty for His presence. We banded together and were zealous for Him. We created groups and programs to spread the gospel to our peers, and though many looked at us strangely, we stood firm on the truth we had been given, that God was real and He was with us. We gave God our youth. And the beauty in that thing was that it didn't happen in a church building. It didn't happen by a preacher laying hands on us. It didn't happen by ministers or elders sharing the four spiritual laws. For me, it happened in the four walls of a dorm room where the Spirit of the living God revealed Himself, and I haven't been the same since. So that basically sums up the amazing spiritual encounter that I and so many of us had at Miami University several years ago. I won't say when because I don't want to date myself. And that was a powerful time of our lives. I really wanted to kind of channel through When Love Wins, where you have an experience, but it's outside of a church and it's not religious and it's no one laying hands on you or forcing you or telling you this is what God looks like and this is what you should look like. It's more of the Creator meeting you where you are and then changing your life forever. I'll take a minute to look at the chat here. Thank you, Alicia. She says she loves the cover. So I will go back and share that with you guys. And I'm going to put the link in here as well, because I definitely want you guys to visit this funnel we've been working so hard on. All right, so here's the cover again. And just a little feedback. I went on a little journey with trying to get this cover, you guys. I thought I was just going to be able to do my 1-2 like I did before with the other books, but I needed a professional illustrator. And the reason that I needed that was because I had a specific vision in mind for the cover. So this woman on the front here is one of the main protagonists. Her name is Ashley. And this cover was inspired by a very key scene in the book. It's actually one of my favorite scenes. And the name of the chapter is called Paint It Out. It's chapter 23. There are 25 chapters in the book. It's pretty lengthy, but a good read. So I'm going to read to you guys the scene that this cover depicts, and then you'll have more insight into the cover and how it was birthed out. Sunday morning, Ashley awoke as light as a feather. Her talk with her dad had given her peace, and her mind was clearer. Instead of her typical run, she went for a walk since she was still recovering. Bundled up in a CCNY sweatshirt, boots, and jean jacket complete with scarf and gloves, she browsed the familiar neighborhood. Even though she had lived there for several years, everything somehow seemed illuminated. Miss Jessie sat on her porch, rocking in her porch swing, which appeared as yellow as the sun. Old Mr. Roberts walked his golden retriever on the opposite side of the sidewalk, his dog's mane shining like a pot of gold. The trees were almost bare, but the ones that stubbornly held onto leaves radiated in hues of red, orange, and yellow, resembling flames of fire. It was like Ashley was seeing in 3D. Paint it out. The message did laps in her heart, sharper than Michael Phelps, the Olympic swimmer. It was so loud, she stopped her walk and peered behind with her hands tied to the inside of her jacket. But there was no one. In absolute fear, Ashley whispered, "Mama?" But only the wind responded. Still, the words painted out held her heart in their palm as she speed walked to her car in the garage. She was the only one home. Natalie was at church and her dad was at the office. Before she could question herself, before she could allow reason to override what was occurring in her being, Ashley clicked the key fob in her jacket pocket, hopped in her truck, and dashed out the driveway, nearly forgetting to shut the garage. What is happening? The maddening thought plagued her as she turned down a road she hadn't ridden in so long. She was compelled, even almost desperate, to get to where she was going. Paint it out reverberated as Ashley scurried onto the side street of paints, paint, and supplies just when Pete arrived. With curious eyes, he squinted through his bifocals. Ashley? He was waiting at the storefront's door, his head cocked in her direction. Even from a distance, Pete seemed the same as he had when she would come years ago, short, bald, and sweet as pie. Hi, Mr. Pete. She waved with animation, getting out of her truck after parking. Ashley, it's the strangest thing, Pete said in wonder. He rubbed his bald head and scratched the prickly gray hairs on each side. We aren't even open on Sundays. His gaze was uncanny as he stared at her with the key postured near the keyhole. Really? She asked. I didn't even think about it being Sunday. Ashley just knew she had to get there. He proceeded to open the door to the shop where they hustled inside, seeking safety from the cool air. The smell of paint fumes engulfed her, engaging in a long awaited dance with the tiny hairs in her nostrils. Ashley inhaled relief and exhaled pure joy. I forgot how much I missed this smell. Her eyes began drinking in the palettes and paints that crowded the small interior. But I had this urge to get here this morning and open the shop, Pete finished, while bending over the windows and opening the three large blinds in the front of the store. Well, I'm glad you did. And Ashley meant it. In unabashed eagerness, she dove into the supplies and picked out colors, canvases, and brushes, stuffing them all in the only cart Pete had stashed in front of the intimate space. 30 minutes later, she drove the rickety thing up to the register where Pete totaled her purchases. His small, beady eyes sparkled behind his glasses, seeming just as giddy as Ashley felt. Ashley, I've missed you frequenting my shop. It's always been such a pleasure. Ashley's heart simmered at the statement. Aw, thanks, Mr. Pete. I used to love coming here with my mom as a kid. Great memories. I loved your mom. Seeing you is a reminder of her beauty and talent. Again, Ashley was touched. The man is pulling on my heartstrings. Thank you. That means a lot. Sure thing, Pete said, handing her the receipt. And Ashley? Clutching the bag, she placed them with care into her cart. Yes, Mr. Pete? Paint it out. In utter shock, Ashley gasped. Did Pete even know what he was saying? I intend to, she replied, marveling. Thanking the kind old man, Ashley whisked her bags to the car, then tucked them into the front seat before driving home in record time. After parking in the garage, she lugged the items upstairs all in one trip. She was that determined. When Ashley got to her room, she set up the canvas, pulled out her paints, unleashed her brushes, whipped out her palettes, and went to work. Her hands were an electricity of creativity. She drew, brushed, and stroked. For hours she went, only stopping to use the bathroom and drink from her bottle of smart water. Paint it out clung to Ashley's heart the whole time. With every stroke, paint it out resounded, and so she did. It was late when she finished, locked up in her room with the door closed while Alexa played Six Flag. She knew she was a sight, but she could care less. Cheeks stained with various paint colors, baggy sweatshirt loose over a pair of black leggings, hair smooth with the scarf she woke up in. Ashley had been so driven she forgot to take it off. She teetered back to look at the completed work and study the painting. A woman was running in the midst of water, nearly drowning, gaping behind in fear. The waves surrounded her, almost overtaking her. But there was a man. He walked on top of the water, full of peace and emanating love. So much love. With bloody hands, he reached out to her. Ashley's eyes pored over the painting like a starving man eating a piece of bread, hungrily. She examined the man on the water, with tan skin and hair of wool, then stood in awe. All this time, she had been afraid, but there was no reason to be. She realized there was no reason to run because instead of fear, there was only love. And I never saw it until now. Jesus, she whispered, peering with intent at the man walking on water. And Ashley knew that moment that it wasn't her mother who had been delivering this message, painted out. It was God. Whew. That scene is one of my favorite scenes. It is so full of emotion, jam-packed with emotion. And the reason that it hits me is because the main character, Ashley, is having this supernatural experience personally with the creator, and it's through her own gifting because she's an artist. So this voice she keeps hearing is trying to tell her, you can be healed. You just need to release it to me. And initially she thinks it is her mom, but she finds out it is God. And so that picture, that illustration of the woman on the front cover. So I'll go back to it. The woman on the front cover who's running in fear, she doesn't know that the man behind her is God, is love, is Jesus. She doesn't know this because she believes what so many of us believe, that, you know, our faults, our shortcomings, our wounds, maybe don't make us worthy of love, or do not allow us to be the recipient of love. But that's what it is. That's my overall message, is that God is love, and that we are loved, and we were created for love. So that's where this came from. You can see the man walking on the water, and the light is emanating from him, but he's in a shadow because she doesn't know who that is. And she's running. The running is also symbolic. She's a runner in the novel. Ashley likes to run, but it's symbolic of where she is for most of the story. She's running away from her past. She's running away from childhood trauma. She's running away from grief recovery. I've been there. I think all of us have been there. And so that is ultimately the inspiration for When Love Wins and the cover. So at this time, I would like to take some questions. I shared with you guys that I would do a Q&A of When Love Wins. Thank you guys for your support. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Leanna. So just reading your chat. I would love to answer any questions that you guys have. I actually posted this on social media. So people did, mostly my friends, but they did put up questions that they had for me. So I'll start with those. And if you guys have any other questions, you can just put them in the chat. So the first question I got was, what are you most proud of? And what's your favorite part? And I think the most proud of part is in the novel, or maybe with the process of creating the novel. What I'll say is I never saw myself as a novelist. So to me, a novel is like this big volume of work. It takes time and effort. It was intimidating. It was overwhelming. So the fact that I am now going to be a novelist and have that title, I'm in awe of that. That is a huge accomplishment to me. And honestly, out of all the accomplishments that I've had, that one I feel like is my biggest one, which is saying a lot, because I have had a lot of great opportunities, but to see this project through is huge. Then to partner with my marketing team, build this funnel, be on this journey of branding, in addition to the networking and marketing I've done this year, like all of those things are huge accomplishments. So I'm very proud of those things. My favorite part of the novel. So I definitely just read one part of the novel. Another part that I love, for some of my readers on here that have read it, they probably will agree, is a family scene. It's a little drama, okay? It's a scene of the family, and it definitely pays homage to Soul Food, if y'all remember, urban movie, classic. And I just love the dialogue that's happening between all these characters. So I love that I got to play around with that and kind of flex a little bit with my literary skills. There's another scene that really hits me. Natalie has a spiritual dream, and her mother, who was passed on, and Ashley's mother appear in it. So I love tapping into the spiritual and the supernatural and the eternal, which I'm still awakening to, but just understanding that our ancestors are still with us, the cloud of witnesses are still with us. So to be able to create that in story form and in my writing was really dope and fun. And there was another scene where Natalie gets to see Ashley's talent and how she is so gifted in what she does. And she paints a mural of her mom. And I love that scene as well. So all of the super emotional ones I like. That another question is, what emotions are you hoping are invoked in your readers? Because I have such heavy topics, like we're dealing with mental health stuff, there's some depression, anxiety, cutting, there's some heavy mental health topics in this book, and specifically in the Black community. I know we don't generally talk about those things. I think we're talking about them more, and even more importantly for the younger community. So I think I want people to kind of look inward and deal with some of those issues, or understand that there's safety to deal with some of those issues. I definitely promote counseling in the book, and grief recovery is huge. I want my readers to heal from childhood trauma. That's another theme in the book. So I think I want the emotions to be definitely joy and healing and hope, but also there are going to be some, inner things that you're going to be reflecting on, hopefully. And I've had to reflect on even as I was writing. And so I'll be 100% honest, writing Nally's story in one of the revisions, because there's been a lot, it was more shallow. I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to deal with the pain of her losing her mom. I didn't want to walk with her through that experience, having already had that experience myself. But in order to develop the character, I needed to. Are there any hidden messages or nods to people or circumstances in your life? I don't know if there's hidden messages. I feel like things are pretty blatant, but definitely like nods to circumstances and people. Like I said, my own experience of my mom passing, the spirit supernatural experiences we had at Miami's campus, the youth. Um, I definitely feel like my time has been redeemed in my 30s. I've been able to kick it a lot. And so because I've been able to kick it a lot, I was able to express a lot of Ashley's character because she kicks it a lot. So that was cool. And then I definitely pay homage to the African American writers that went before because I just love and esteem the 90s. I just feel like it was a Renaissance era in Black culture. So, like I mentioned, the soul food thing, definitely Omar Tyree, who is an urban fiction New York Times bestselling novelist, who I've seen, Sister Soldier, Terry McMillan, all of the Black writers in the 90s. And I definitely incorporate that culture, that vibe. I've been told that even about urban stories. So, how has this process differed from the last book? Is there anything new you learned about yourself? This process has been totally different than anything I've ever written in my whole life because writing short stories was cool because you don't have to like fill in the blanks. You don't have to transition. You don't have to develop as much. The novel, I thought I was good a year ago, y'all. I was like, oh, I submitted it to my editor, Gwen. And I was like, oh yeah, girl, I'm done. And she just read me all the way. She had so much red tape on there. I was like, oh no, I'm not done. I've been sitting with that ever since. But I needed to learn. And so it's been a lot of market research. I had a focus group. I went to New York. I went to Jersey because my characters stay there. I had my beta readers. One of my beta readers, she was like, you have to go. You just got to go to New York because she was from there. She knew. And I had interviews that I did from people from New York. Like it's been a whole thing. And then the whole process of building the funnel with my IT marketing consultant, like that has been its own journey. So everything has been upped, the game has been upped. Everything has just been take it to the next level, take it to the next level. So what I've learned about myself, that I can do anything. And I think that there's so many limitations in our mind that we keep ourselves back from really being our best versions of ourselves because of our fears, because of our insecurities. I myself struggle with that so much. And it's a mindset switch to see yourself here, and to know that you are really that great, that I could be a novelist, I could be a publisher. Like I literally didn't walk into that until Alicia, my good friend Alicia, who's on here, came to me and she had to pull that out of me. And now I'm walking in that and now I'm publishing other clients, really, manifesting the fullness of my destiny. So I think what have I learned about myself? That I really can do anything, that we are made in the image of the creator to do the impossible. What would you like people to learn about you through your work? I think I would like people to know that God is fly and down to earth. I feel like we have this misconception about who the creator is, and we feel like we're so far removed and da da da. But I want people to know that that's how I relate to him and that they can too. So, but I think specifically about me that I am flawed but loved, and that it's been a journey of evolving into my true self and my best self. And I'm still on that journey, but I'm surrounded by a whole bunch of people on that journey too. And I'm just grateful that I've made it and that I'm going to even go even further. But that is all to the testament of the Father's love and my community. Okay. So I feel like those were the questions that I had. I see you guys up here in the chat. So thank you so much for your encouragement. All of you, I feel the same way for sure. Thanks so much, guys. And so Jessica says stories from the urban soul definitely made me feel like I was reading Sister Souljah and Terry McMillan. Felt good while reading it. Thank you so much, because I know you just got that book yesterday, girl. So I really appreciate that. So now I want to hit this funnel again. I want to share with you guys more of the things my team and I have been working on. This is so exciting. Like I said, everything is on the next level, and it has just been eye-opening for me. I've grown so much in this process of working with my consultant. One of the fun things we did that I hope you guys can tap into, I'm putting the link in here now so you can click on that at your leisure. But we're going to take a look at this quiz. So we created a quiz, and it is the Ashley and Natalie personality quiz, the Win Love Wins personality quiz. I have it on my screen here. I dropped the link in the chat. When you get a chance, click on that quiz to find out who you are like, and email me and let me know. And I probably know you, so then I could tell you like, okay, you are like this, or nah, I think you hit something wrong, you know. So definitely if you have time, or when you have time, take that quiz. It is super cute. I love it. And I think you will too. Another really cool thing we have going around this time is the free chapter. So here's the free chapter. Let me drop this link in here so y'all can see. So that is the link for the free chapter. Once you submit your information, you'll have an opportunity to kind of whet your appetite with the Natalie and Ashley saga, and hopefully be the fan that I am today. I want to share with you guys some of the versions that we're going to be doing for When Love Wins, which is like another game changer of this time around with this book that I'm doing different than every other book. So I just dropped a link. You can click on that link and find out, or go there and check out the versions yourself. But we're doing some bundles that we're offering. And here is the order checkout. That's the link I just sent you guys. And you can see that we have the paperback and the ebook and the audio as one bundle. And then we have the audio and the ebook as another bundle. And then we have the paperback and the ebook as another bundle. So we got y'all covered, right? And so these are special prices right now that I'm doing for Black Friday. So you definitely want to jump on it. And then there's an option, if you still have not gotten Urban Stories, you still have an option to pick that up as well. So click on the link that I just put in the chat, and then you can check out those bundles. And then my last thing that I want to show you guys is that you guys know I do one-on-one coaching. Well, some of you know, some of you might not, but I do one-on-one coaching for aspiring authors, aspiring writers, people that you know could utilize my services. You can go to my website at NicoleDMiller.com, click schedule a consult. I'll drop this in the link as well. And then you can hit me up for that. All you have to do is book your consultation on my calendar, and we'll do 45 minutes and get you to the next steps. I'll give you resources, I'll give you tools, things that help me on my journey. We also offer editing services that you can schedule with us, and of course, hybrid publishing. So definitely check us out. And let me drop that in the link. And so you guys have heard me reference that this has definitely been a labor of love. It's been a team event. One of the ways that I've been able to upgrade on this level is because I had a really good partner. So I just want to honor that and share with you guys the company I've been working with, which is the Iconic Expressions. So the Iconic Expressions is an amazing Black-owned marketing branding consulting firm. And I've had the luxury of working with them for this funnel. They have some templates that they're offering right now. And a lot of the templates that we use, or all of the templates that we use in my funnel, are from them. So check out iconictemplates.com. If you're in need of templates definitely, take advantage of this 20 to 40% off that they're offering through Black Friday. And definitely mention my name if you end up purchasing anything or just looking for additional services with IT, branding, consulting, that sort of thing, just hit me up. So definitely would not have had all of these features and opportunities for Win Love Win to just really get the visibility it needs and scale without them. So shout out to the iconic expressions. All right. So I think that's probably everything except for the sales video, which I can try to pull up one more time.
Hi, I'm Nicole D. Miller, author of my debut novel, When Love Wins. When Love Wins is a story about two young women with a rift in their relationship. When Natalie, after the loss of her mother, moves in with Ashley, she's shocked to find a cold welcome, but her faith motivates her to pursue Ashley anyway. In her quest for reconciliation, Ashley heals from childhood trauma, and Natalie receives much-needed support from her previously estranged relatives. I'm so excited to let you guys know about my new bundles. I'm offering the complete bundle for the paperback, audio, and ebook, the digital bundle for the ebook and audio, and the reader's bundle for the paperback and ebook. The When Love Wins presale is officially launched. Just go to whenlovewins.love to pre-order and receive exclusive offerings before the launch date of April 2023. Thanks so much for your support, and I'd love to hear from you. Simply email me at info@ndmillerpublishing.com. And remember to purchase your copy of When Love Wins today.
Okay, so it looks like we finally got it. Thank you all for your patience. Thank you for showing up for me. It means so much to me that I have people in my life that are for me, that are supportive, that show up for me, that cheer me on. So much of this has just been a walk by faith and it has been a step-by-step journey, but there's just been so much fruit and there's been so much reward in it that I'm at this point. It's like, I got to go all the way. I got to see what's on the other side. So hopefully now, thank you so much, Seth. Hopefully now you guys have more insight into the book. We have officially launched the pre-sale. The book will actually drop in April. I'm actually going to combine it with my 40th birthday. It's gonna be a huge celebration, so get ready for that. So when you order, just know you will not get your book right away. It will be delivered the weekend of my birthday. Unless you order Urban Stories, then you will get that right away. Thank you, Hopi G. And Hopi G is definitely a trailblazer in this area. So thank you so much. Thank you guys. Remember to use the code. Remember to take the quiz. Remember to spread the word. And I will give you guys the link one more time. whenlovewins.love. And so one of the things about being an independent author is that it's going to be a group effort because Marlene says she's Ashley. I don't know, Mar. I think you need to take the quiz because we'll see. But it's going to be a group effort to get. Are you already taking the quiz? Okay, people are already taking the quiz. One thing I was saying was being an independent author, I definitely know it's going to be a group effort. This is going to take a community. It's going to take a tribe for these works to get seen. And you guys are my tribe. So you are definitely fundamental in the foundation of what is being built. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for all of your investment in me. So I'm gonna get off before I get emotional, but everyone's taking the quiz. Send me, text me, DM me your results. I'll be interested in learning more about that. So let me know if you guys have any questions. Thank you, Pastor Anna. Thank you, Alicia. You guys are going to make me emotional, so I can't do it. Thank you, Piper. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys for showing up for me. I just so appreciate it. And stay tuned. Stay tuned. Catch those Black Friday deals. And I will see you at the book launch in April.